My battery's about to die. It's almost daylight. Whoa. Uh-oh, it looks like it's turning this way.
Welcome to the Alien Pro Podcast. It's Saturday, November 26, 2022. I'm here today giving an interview with Terry from Florida. Terry called us or contacted me through our Facebook ad campaign. Terry has seen some pretty good video, has some pretty good video. He also has some still pics that are pretty good and that we're going to put up while we do the episode. Bill is kind of guiding me in the background right now. So he's also, he says he had an x-ray, he had an accident and they found an anomaly in his x-ray. And we're hoping to get that also. I had a pretty extensive phone interview with Terry. So the audio is a little bit soft on his end, but you can definitely understand him. And he's definitely a fan and is looking forward to, contributing in live on the show in the future. So we're really happy. And then, so I'm just going to roll into the interview right now. All right, we've got Terry on. Terry's called in from good old sunny Florida. We seem to be having a lot of sightings back there. How you doing, Terry?
Not bad. How about yourself, Doug?
Awesome. Thanks a lot for allowing us to do the recording. What we'll probably do is just slip it in during one of the regular. You did hear one of the episodes already? You've heard it?
Sir.
What do you think?
It's interesting to me. I was always kind of a skeptic, like, how come we don't, if there's people everywhere, I didn't get it. I didn't understand until I started paying attention,
We've heard, we have done, Bill's a lifelong friend. I've known him since, grade school. So we've always, throughout the years, we've kept in touch and we talk about this, and we decided to do a show based on everything weird, not just UFOs, but UFOs are definitely, obviously something that are in the news right now. So I'm going to ask a couple questions. What do you do for a living? Are you retired or do you still work?
I'm disabled, retired, yeah.
Oh.
I broke my neck about 12 years ago.
Oh, man. I mean, you getting around okay?
I'm getting around now. I was bedridden for almost 2 years, but I'm getting around now.
No. Well, you're in a nice part of Florida. You're on the water?
Yeah, I live on a canal that goes right into Lake Okeechobee.
You do some fishing?
I love it, yep.
What do you fish for?
I stay in trouble with the woman 3/4 of the time because I'm fishing.
You got to give her a pole. Have her sit next to you. Yeah.
She's outside. I don't know what she's doing.
So have you seen, before you saw, we'll describe what you saw in a minute, but have you seen any before, or is it just something that, all of a sudden you saw him at your place now and you're saying, oh, wow, this is something?
No, I tell you what, I had actually kind of I don't know if you'd want to call it hair-raising or staggering experience, like in 1979 or 78. There was 5 of us in my 1970 Cadillac, and we were on this old, it was just a road way up in southern Illinois, and you could look in, it was about 35 miles from Chicago, and you could see the airplanes landing into O'Hare Airport. You could see them.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool to watch. You could see them line up over Lake Michigan, and all of a sudden this one, it still looked like an airplane. It had the rotating beacon, the navigation lights and everything on it, started coming, and it looked like it landed on this road that was across this field that we were sitting on.
Was this at night or during the day?
This was it was probably 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And it looked like it landed. I thought, wow, that guy ran out of gas over there. And we thought, well, maybe we should go over there and see if they're okay. And then wasn't 5 minutes later, this bright white light looked like somebody was running across the field, like with a Coleman lamp. It looked really weird. It was just going all over the place. I thought, well, we don't have to go over there. He's going over here. And all of a sudden, that white light just kind of was within 2 car lengths of the car, and it was for lack of better words, it was a flying saucer.
Wow.
Looking right at us.
That is crazy.
There was 3 girls and another friend of mine in the car, and they're all screaming and yelling like, go, go, because it really looked weird. It didn't look like nothing that I'd ever seen before. No, didn't act like anything. And then I opened my door to stand up and look at it because I wanted to see what that was. Because like I said, I was a skeptic. There's got to be something that you can explain really easy. I'll just take a look. And I got out and they said, I didn't see this, that they said it shot a beam at my head. And to me, it looked like I was looking down a whirlpool of like mercury or something. It looked like a whirlpool of mercury going that way.
Really?
Yes, sir. And the girls were still screaming. And then I got in the car and we took off in the car and we're driving like towards our houses and they're all crying. And I didn't know what to think. I was like, oh, let's go home. And then the next thing we knew, it was like getting daylight. And this happened at like 9:30 at night. And we only lived like a 15, 20-minute drive from where we were at.
Right.
So we lost some time there. And none of them will even talk about it anymore at all. I've tried to talk to a couple of them. They're like, we were drinking and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, drinking doesn't do that to you.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Bill and I've talked about this we're older too. And we've never seen anything. Although we know, we obviously with what's going on, we know there's something going on out there. We don't know. I know you had questions based on the sighting that now you guys are you seeing this regularly?
Actually, for about a month there, we saw it probably twice a week, and almost like clockwork. And then during the last couple weeks, I haven't seen it at all. But that big triangle that I took a picture of, that's very misleading. It looks like it's like pointing upwards. It looks like it's but it's laying level across the top of the sky. But it's just taking up so much sky. You can see like trees on the one side, and the one you can see the top of my house. It's huge. It's humongous.
How far away was it from where you were standing?
It was above my house. It was partially above my house, but I couldn't tell how far away the other end of it was. But I'm sure it went a quarter of a mile.
How high?
On the 3 sides of it.
How high up was it? Could you see?
Well, there was clouds going over it and clouds going under it. So I don't want to say it wasn't that high because I really don't know how big it was, and it wasn't dark. But I would say probably 1,000 feet up. It wasn't that high up.
That's crazy. It didn't make any noise at all?
No noise whatsoever.
Did it have any lights, like navigation lights, like you were talking about with the other sighting?
Nothing. It just had like that greenish neon colored light all the way around it and made a perfect triangle with, sharp edges and stuff. And there's no right angles in nature like that.
No.
The neighbors were all coming over wanting me to, what is it? What are we going to do? I'm like, well, just don't shoot at it.
No, probably don't want to shoot at it.
We were all looking at it and then came in the house and settled down, had a glass of pop and went outside and it was gone.
Yeah. That's insane. So was this the other sightings? Were they just like this, or were they?
No, those were small things. I saw the white one first, and it was kind of off in the over the lake more. Like, again, I can't say how far away it was because I don't know how big the white one was, but it looked like that one stayed the farthest away. But you could tell when it turned, you could tell when it was coming at you, and you could tell when it was, turning left or right. You could just see. And that I have a really kind of a cheap camera phone, so you can't really tell. You can't get any details from my videos, but the blue one was like, you can see in the video, you can see it flashing off the canal, on the water of the canal. It came within 100 yards of me, and it was probably like the size of one of those side-by-sides that people buy around,
Right.
And it gave off a funny smell, and I can't describe the smell. Like, it smelled like, it didn't smell rotten, but it smelled like if you ever smelled a jellyfish on the beach.
Yeah.
When they wash up, it just smelled really weird. It didn't smell like rotting anything. I can't describe the smell. It's like nothing I've smelled before, really. But no noise, but a strange smell.
Yeah, that's typical of UFO photography. Even people with good cameras, it's amazing how you don't. It's always the running joke that you just can't get a good picture. One.
The big triangle, I could not get it on video. It would not show up at all. So
Yeah.
I ended up taking a few stills of it.
Yeah.
You see it in the different colors because I was trying to pull as much of it out as I could, just to see what, pull up any details, and you can't.
Yeah.
I sent you some pictures of that red one also, and you can see. I got a picture of it where it was like hiding behind a tree about 200 yards or 100 yards away from my house. And you can see a tree branch in front of it with some leaves, but I got it right when it was taken off. You can see the marks from it taken off.
Had it landed in your area, do you think?
No, it never did land. It was always hovering above the ground 6-8 feet. But when it took off, I couldn't even see where it went. It took off low and made a bunch of curves, and it was gone. But that blue one, man, it kept disappearing like in a little puff.
Yeah.
It's not really smoke. It would look like it was surrounded by jelly. It wasn't smoke because it was like move. The jelly would keep moving, and when it stopped, it was just so weird. I actually went in the house for that one. I was like, I'm not going to watch that because it was coming at me, coming closer, slowly but coming.
Yeah, there's a theory that they have kind of like a bubble that's around the actual whatever the ship would be.
Is that right?
And that the bubble is it's electromagnetic or whatever they use for propulsion, and that so that when they take off, or when they because they jet away. I mean, when the thing moved, did it move slowly or did it move quickly out of sight?
That one moved slow. That one wasn't in no hurry to go anywhere, and it just bobbed around so much. So in the video, that's not me moving around. That's that thing moving around.
That's amazing.
Coming closer, it got to my neighbor's empty lots and was still coming towards me. So I thought, I'm going to go in the house.
Yeah.
And I kept watching out the windows, and it never came into my yard, but I wasn't going to stick around.
That's pretty crazy. I know the one picture it had the image, and then it's almost like it had an outline of an opening of that image.
Yeah.
The jellyfish looking one. It's pretty bizarre. Yeah, there's all kinds of theories. I know you're kind of out. We don't really have an answer. I mean,
very uneducated on UFOs, so
the whole world is kind of.
I'm welcome too. That's for sure.
we're all just kind of trying to figure it all out. There's different. My personal philosophy is that, or my theory, not my philosophy, but my theory is that, or one of my theories is that this is us coming from the future and observing us backwards. And I know it's kind of a crackpot way to look at things, but
no,
it's
not crackpot because I've actually wondered that myself.
Yeah.
Even from the past, I think.
Yeah.
I think the world has been
all
with technology in the past.
Yeah, that's another theory. Is that there's another there's another word that they use. I don't know. They have a word for it where they were always here, and the fact that a lot of these showed up. If you listen to we've got 200 episodes. I don't know if you want to spend that time listening to them, but throughout the last couple of years, we've looked at the history of a lot of the activity, and so and since you're kind of new at what the situation, when we started playing with nuclear weapons, that's when they started showing up, and
paying attention.
yeah, because we're good. I think to your point, they may have been here the whole time. Who knows where they came from originally, or if they were all, we don't know, and nobody knows. So they could have been here the whole time. They could have been us coming from the future, coming down here. The extraterrestrial, from outer space. We surmise that those probably aren't, but there's different. Scientifically, it's complicated. Bill's a PhD, so he is a lot more learned about, the actual science of what you can bend space. You don't necessarily have to travel for your lifetime to try to get from one solar system to the next. The theory is there can be different ways to travel through the universe that doesn't make it. It's kind of like, did you watch science fiction when you were younger?
Yeah.
So you watch Star Trek and Star Wars and all that. So yeah, they just kind of cruise through space like they're in your '70 Cadillac. So, it's and there's waves of propulsion and that kind of thing. Like there's warp drive with, Star Trek, of course. So we don't know what makes them go. The government is now more involved than ever, but it's the same as Roswell. Everything kind of developed and was brought to light in Roswell. And Roswell was during the time that we were in Trinity, the nuclear weapons development age. So that's when they kind of started, and that now it's, the last show I think that's the one I sent you where they the last shows where they actually, Brazil in 1996 had one that had crashed, and they if you listen to the whole episode, we kind of lay out in fact the show's on Amazon, but you got to pay like $5 for it. Eventually it'll be free, but it's a documentary, and two of these things, the beings that look like little aliens, they were running through this town in Brazil. So, I mean, wow. This is 96. So, but Brazil's a little more forthcoming, and they had a lot of eyewitness interviews. So, it was pretty exciting. We were excited to hear about it. Were you in the military also?
I was being trained as a Navy SEAL at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, at the Northwestern Military and Naval Academy. But the Vietnam War got ended, and I hate to say it, I'm glad I didn't go. I mean,
yeah,
I was ready to.
You're probably lucky you did.
Go.
You're here today. That was another one of those the beginning of the unnecessary wars. We try not to get into too much politics in this because, people don't really want to, they don't want to hear about it. But we have our views too. Bill's he lives in North Florida, so he's out there in your area. I'm in California.
Oh, cool. I just don't understand why, if there is something, why does if we have stuff like that, I can see our government keeping it secret from us. But if it's coming from somewhere else, why would they keep it secret? Like, hey, check this out. Why would they not? I know they use the term of mass hysteria and stuff, but I mean, what could be more scary than the threat of nuclear holocaust? I mean,
well, so you go to, let's put it this way. Now, one of the reasons is, the theory is that the religious people, you go to church. You told me you go to church. How is it, and you're spiritual? If you found out that there were aliens from extraterrestrials from outer space, how would that affect your view on God? I mean,
None at all. I would think, well, okay, so God made more than one planet because, well, like I have more than one fish tank in my house. Why?
Yeah.
Why would God just want to make one planet full of people that don't listen to him? He can make a couple others that maybe they'll try a little harder or something.
That's a healthy way to look at it, but there's are people out there that the government may be concerned that would go radical, that are, and I'm not just religious people, but other people, because we have the different
Right.
peoples out there, and that believe in certain things, and this might destroy their core value of what they believe in. So
I understand that. I guess
so I don't know though. I don't know either. I don't know any more than you do. We've taken and I appreciate you reaching out. I know the Facebook thing, that's what we're kind of doing is as we advertise on it, and I get people that will not, we talk to them or we email or we text or whatever, and then we talk about, but there are organizations that can look into these phenomena. In your area, I think there's MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. They'll actually do an investigation. They'll come and see you and actually do a report. We have a form we use, but we're not a huge organization. It's just something if I have a guest on that seems something, we have them kind of fill the form out, basically outlines a lot of the things that we talked about, how far it was, how big it was, what it looked like, a diagram of
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, you can contact them about the sighting if you choose. And they're all over the world. And they, we have one they have a little one they're in our town I'm in the Sacramento area. So they have one up a little north of us, but they have monthly meetings. You can go there and you can talk about your sighting, or you can simply just contact them. You probably email them or something. That's the best way, if I'd say, to report the sighting, and then they have a lot of ways to figure out if there's something in the area. If it's a secret military operation, we're never going to know anything, obviously.
Right, and that's kind of what I figured. But this, I'm a kind of a military history kind of buff. And,
yeah, good.
And I know an airplane when I see it. I know even a lot of times, being in central, southern Florida, a lot of times these military aircraft fly over at night, practicing refueling and stuff with very minimal lighting on. And you can still tell it's an airplane, even though they don't have all their running and navigation lights on. You can hear it, you can see you can tell.
Yeah.
But that blue thing just about made me want to dig a hole and hide.
Yeah, that's what people will say. I mean, but MUFON will actually, they have ways, like I said, they can't do anything about secret military stuff, but they can look at it. They'll take the video and actually evaluate it and see what it could be. I mean, it looks like it sounds as though it's what you say it is. It's something odd, and we don't know. But did you hear that the sonic boom about 5 a.m. today? Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
They had in your area, my sister lives in southern Florida. Well, not totally south, in the southern portion of Florida. And she lives by Cape Canaveral.
Uh-huh.
And they had they call it an X-37B. It's a ship that was in orbit for 3 years. They were doing an experiment. It looks.
I know what an X-37B is.
Yeah, it looks like a space shuttle, little space shuttle. There's no people in it. It's supplies only at this time. And it did in re-entry, it broke the sound barrier and made a sonic boom.
Cool.
And it rattled a lot of people. But I have. Do you get text on your phone? Or
do I get what?
Do you get text? Are you able to text on your phone?
Yeah, Yes, sir.
Do you have an Apple phone or do you have whatever?
No, it's a Samsung, I think.
But you can text, you can receive text. I'll send you a picture. I stopped collecting because I have too much, but I have a lot of military. It's something you probably enjoy. It's military aircraft art, and I've got an X-37. I've got a picture that was. They say the guy bought it from. I don't know if it's true. I paid like $100 for it. I believe it's an older version of the X-37. It might not have been a 37, but looks almost like this thing, and I'll send you a picture of the picture I've got, and it's got the little skunk works. It was allegedly this picture was in Kelly Johnson's office, which he did, the black aviation, the skunk works down in Palmdale, the LA area. So I've never seen another picture like this, but it's but it's got the little skunk on the back, so it's obviously, well, not obviously was depicting that. I don't know what's real. You never know what's real, but I've got other things, that I collect, so
if you like, I've got an X-ray of myself. I've got to dig up for you that the doctors can't explain. Also, I've got it looks like a little transistor that's nobody knows how it got into my spinal column.
Oh, no way! And send me a picture of that. That'd be interesting.
I think that came from our 1978-79 thing, but that was. I've had them. When did you have that put on? Like, I didn't have nothing put in there.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what is that?
That's bizarre. They can't figure it out, huh?
Because they were gonna. That was like I said, I was gonna have surgery on my neck, and they wanted to know what that was. And I'm like, I didn't know it was there until you just showed me the X-ray, so I have no idea.
That's weird. Yeah, I'd like to see that. That'd be interesting.
I'll dig it up. I have an actual X-ray, the old, the negative-looking X-ray thing. I had to beg my doctor to get it out of his office, but
that's it's amazing. But you don't. Yeah, you don't. But you haven't had any experiences other than the two things.
No, that one in 19. It might have been early 80 even, but it was back there, and I just didn't understand why the other people. There was 5 of us all together, and they didn't even want to talk about it. I'm like, how could you not want to talk about something like that? And the only person that did want to talk about it was my buddy Eddie, who was in the front seat with me, and he's no longer with us. But the 3 girls were just refused. They're like, no way.
Well, the problem, there's a back even in the 70s, there was a big, when Bill and I, you always worry about, not really worry, but you get concerned, because in the 60s and 70s, if you talk about seeing a flying saucer, you could end up having people tell you that you need to have psychological evaluation. But nowadays it's mainstream. If you ask, I have cards that actually have, they have a QR code so people can find our podcast on, they can find our podcast online easier. So I'll, if you want to send me your address, I could send you a couple of those, and
that would be great. I have a friend or two that would probably love to have one of those.
Yeah, I'll send you some cards, and it makes it easy. But if you go online, I assume you surf the internet and look at stuff. We all do.
Yeah, I don't have a computer besides
you don't have a computer, Terry?
No, sir.
You living off the grid. Don't want to be found.
They found me too much. I've had money from my bank missing and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, really? Well, that's no good. Yeah, it's but yeah, you'll have send me your address, and I'll send you out a few of those cards. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. What we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now. We can still chat for a minute though, but we'll
I
go ahead and end this.
Your time out though.
No problem. Hang on just a sec.
This thing is hard to follow, but Oh, what in the hell? It was just like right at the end of the canal I live on.
So at the end of the interview, Terry and I had we ended the interview, and Terry and I chatted for another 10 or 15 minutes, and he's really excited about the things that he saw, and we're really excited to have him back on live. So should go pretty good. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net. Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. YouTube, check us out. Like and subscribe. Thanks to our senior producer. Thanks, Dr. Bill, for putting this all together for us. And I think it'll go pretty well. Watch the skies.
Watch the skies.
This thing is hard to follow, but